Welcome to Fiber Trek. My name is Sarah. Welcome. You are most welcome on this creative journey here in the Northwoods of Maine. On this episode, I take you abroad as I attend the Swiss Yarn Festival and a little sojourn to Italy. I'm looking forward to updating you on my knitting, of course. If you are a patron of this podcast or have donated through Ko-fi, a deep, heartfelt thank you. I so appreciate the comments and the insights that are shared as well. If you can like and subscribe, I am most appreciative. I'm so glad that you're all here. Let's catch up.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Oh, even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
Hello and welcome. You are most welcome to a new episode. I have been gone for a little while. That wasn't planned. I had hoped to publish an episode prior to leaving for the Swiss Yarn Festival. But I got this terrible eye infection, which got me really down and out for a while. And I put all of my energy into finishing and wrapping up what I needed to get done at work. And it looked horrible. So this is much better. I did manage to get mostly on the mend before leaving, and more about that in a minute. I just want to extend my deep, heartfelt thanks for those that support this podcast through contributions on platforms like Patreon or donations on Ko-fi. Perhaps you have subscribed to the blog site, fibertrek.wordpress.com, or you've left a comment, you have liked a video on YouTube. Thank you so much for your continued support and for coming back each episode or joining me for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really important for me to say that. I say it every time. I want to acknowledge the exchange that's happening here in this creative project. Thank you. Right. Well, I flew out, I think on April 3rd with my mom to Zurich, where I met up with my friend Sophia, and we attended the Swiss Yarn Festival. This was held in Glotzfelden, and we stayed at a bed and breakfast Airbnb in Eglisau, which was just a couple minutes up on the train from Glotzfelden outside of Zurich. So I think we were about 35 minutes outside of Zurich. But the town we stayed in was a fairy tale town. We had a really beautiful second floor apartment. Our host was so accommodating and friendly and helpful and enthusiastic about the Wool Festival. And she had worked, I think, last year as a volunteer for it. So she kind of understood the fervor of Sophia and I and what we were looking forward to, how to get there, and what to expect. So Switzerland was dreamy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We were in a small town, so we didn't really have to compete for any type of restaurants or being on the street, it was not an overly touristed area. So every night we ate dinner at the Night Watchman, looking out over the Rhine. The weather was warm, the sun was out. So I'm hoping that I can capture for you just the true kind of relaxation I felt getting over there. And this was also reflected in the festival. You know that if you've been with me, I did work at Rhinebeck this year. I went to Vermont Sheep and Wool. And I've been to a couple other festivals throughout the years. And this particular festival I found to be really approachable and accessible. It's held in an old mill right on the river. It has lots of outdoor space. It has lots of food options, so you're never really like in line forever for food. There's places to sit and relax and knit and talk. Then there, of course, is the vendor area, which was broad. There was a cafeteria and places to sit inside the vendor area. And upstairs in this particular center was where the classes were held. So it was all very manageable. There's also a hotel and restaurant associated with this space. So it could be really seamless. If you were staying at the hotel, you could have a really effortless festival experience. So as I was saying, I found it really approachable. There was a lot of energy and attendance was up, but I never felt so overwhelmed that I couldn't move around or see what I wanted to see. I couldn't always talk to who I wanted to talk to, but that's a good thing. Primarily, I just took a lot of footage of the festival. I prefer that myself when people are showcasing their travels, as I like to see the visual aesthetic, the layout, get a sense of the energy there. I did not interview anybody. I feel awkward doing that myself because I know how much energy it takes to serve customers and to manage, checking people out and the numbers. And so I'm not really spontaneously feeling like I want to go up and put people on the spot. So lots of visual opportunities, as you probably saw. And I found that to be a little bit more my vlog style. As I said, it was, a really easy place to meet others, sit down, chat. We met some Swiss podcasters, and everybody was really welcoming and friendly, regardless of language barriers. So I found that to be manageable. I can't say enough nice things about the pace of this festival and how it felt to be there. I attended Friday and Saturday. I was super grateful that the Swiss Yarn Festival did comp me my attendance tickets. My mom, who is a non-knitter, joined us for both days, and she as well found people to talk to and kind of found a nice spot in the sun, was able to have a beer. So again, it was just a relaxing, wandering kind of pace to it. And an easy way to meet and talk to new people. I got a chance to chat with my friend Charlotte Stone, who you may know from the Charming Colorwork Socks, and I can't remember the name of her other book, but sock designer, very popular. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. So I got a chance to reconnect with her. I hadn't seen her since last summer. It was wonderful to have some time with her and her family. And of course, I had time with Sophia Carlson of Sophia's Tales, and she was teaching as well. So I learned a few little techniques here and there. I just can't really thank everybody there enough for, allowing me to film, moving such a great festival forward. So highly recommend. So I did walk away with a few treasures. One booth had some Hillesvåg yarn in a base that I hadn't seen or had access to. Hillesvåg is a mill based in Norway. I have knit a sweater with the Solja yarn, which is the Norse Pelsuggarn, pelt wool. and I just have a strong affinity for their yarns, the colors. A lot of the Pelsgarn yarns are overdyed gray, which is such a attractive siren's call kind of yarn for me. So I picked up the Vida and the Varda, and the Vida is in this light gray, and it is a lamb's wool, Norwegian lamb's wool. And then I picked up the Varda, which is the Norsk Pelsgarn, and it is kind of a really beautiful kind of bluey gray. These are both 200 meters per 100 grams. They can be used interchangeably. I have plans to use this to make the first light sweater by Liv Ulven, and that is the recommended yarns from that are Plotolopi or Icetex Letlopi. So I think I can make these yarns work for that gauge. Yeah, so this is going to be the contrast color in that sweater, and this will be the main color. So it'll be very subtle. You do some hand embroidery details on this sweater, so you might be able to add, or I might be able to add some pops of color with some Tinda that I have as well, which is another line from Hillesvåg. So that was my first purchase, and as a sweater knitter, I knew I needed to do a sweater. So Vida and Varda from Hillesvåg. Then I picked up some Biche et Bouche to knit a hat. I was really inspired by the Viola designs. I'm working currently on the Agnes Kofta, but she has a beret in that book, and I thought that would be fun to do. And in chatting with some friends at the festival, one of them was like, maybe you should knit with a little bit more pink or dusty rose. And so I thought, this might be the perfect accessory or opportunity to work with that color. And so I went ahead and I picked up in their La Petite Lamb's wool and their silk mohair to hold together. First I picked up this beautiful kind of blue, and then I picked up this pink, and I finished knitting the hat. So I got the needles to cast on and and do it all at the festival, and I got this done during some flake complications on the way home. So this is the beret from the Viola Designs book, and which leads me to show you. I also picked up Kristen Viola's book in German because I wanted a hard copy of the book to go with the digital copy that I have. So that was something else that I picked up. And to hold it all while I was there, I did, just for reference sake, I did knit the beret on a 3.5 millimeter needle. It is knit top down, so you start at the top. And I haven't knit, there's a little I-cord detail here. I haven't done that yet, but I do plan to do it. So this is almost done. I did give it a light wash and a very light block just to relax all of those increases that are happening. And I really like the fabric that I achieved. Because I had picked up another project, I found this beautiful bag. I just liked the textures, and this was all hand dyed, and these are scraps, and I just kind of liked the fabric kind of surface media, what's the word I'm looking for? Surface design of these pieces. So this is from La Cavalan by Sarah Maternini, maker, designer, and dyer. And there were bags there. There was some eco-printed pieces. There was kind of haberdashery items. She is originally from Italy. I had a wonderful time chatting with her, so warm and welcoming. Yeah, that was a very memorable interaction. So I picked up this bag to keep my beret in as I was traveling along. I will say this about the beret because I've been knitting for 20 plus years and it took me 4 attempts to cast this on and get it started. I don't know if it was I kept losing my spot or I didn't follow the directions. It was certainly not the pattern. It was definitely user error. But I would like get to a certain point and I'd be like, oh my God, and I had to rip it out. So 4 attempts to get it started. Granted, I was in between socializing. I was putting it down, picking it up. And yeah, it took me a while to find the rhythm, but ultimately in the end, I was able to do it, I think, correctly. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so just lots of socializing. As I said, Sarah was so warm and thoughtful, and we talked about my upcoming trip to Italy and lots of other topics. So you can find her online as well, and I'm hoping next year she'll be back at the Swiss Yarn Festival. The other thing that caught my eye was some yarns from Portugal. These are Portuguese merino. They smell amazing. These are the fingering weight. And I'm just gonna put my glasses on again. So this is Laurentino. It's named after our dear father in order to honor him in a beautiful and sincere way, valuing the product for the good and unique characteristics just as he had them. This is from rollupthesheep.pt, 100% wool merino from Egtiana's farm, certified organic, Portuguese, 100 grams to 280 meters. So very slight and subtle juxtaposition of color, but I thought it would make like a really beautiful set of mittens or a cowl or a hat. They had a Jennifer Steingass knit up in this darker chocolate, and it was absolutely stunning. So I really enjoyed finding this. It looks like it is, it's a singles yarn. So Portuguese merino found its way into my stash. And the last thing I picked up when I was there, which was a gift, was some Swiss yarn. And I was so thankful when I found this vendor. This was Hulda Wool, Schafferhassen, and this is Anna. And she was primarily focused on natural dyeing and plant fibers, but she had some really beautiful Swiss yarn, and that's what this is. And thank you so much for the gift, Anna. 160 meters per 100 grams. So this is the 100% Swiss wool spun in Switzerland from Holdovol, Schaffhausen, Anna, and she gave me some good leads on some really interesting things happening in the wool world, and I'll be researching those out and maybe sharing them as I become more familiar. So I had a lot of really positive and deeper connections about wool at this festival. I appreciated, as I said before, that I had time to talk here and there and have people kind of share with me a little bit about the locality, and of course just having the opportunity to make some discoveries. I got a chance to chat with Emma from the Gray Sheep Company. It was so wonderful to see her and her husband there, and of course their beautiful yarns. I hadn't seen her since the Edinburgh Yarn Festival prior to the pandemic, so it was a really nice catch up with her and an immediate kind of launch into the discussions that are so near and dear to my heart about land and stewardship and animal husbandry and wool. So I was so grateful, as I said, to kind of reconnect with some older connections and meet some new ones. So the Swiss Yarn Festival really was an excellent piece of my trip, and I would highly recommend it. And again, like I said, I just felt like this was a really well-run, accessible, inspiring festival, and maybe you want to put it on your calendar. Now we finished the festival and we are on to the next leg of our trip, which was to Siena, Italy, and then finally to Rome.
Hey, I wish you could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you, you don't even notice. Should've told you straight away, you don't have to be afraid.
The next leg of the journey, my friend from Colorado, who I've known since I was in college, flew in and met us in Zurich, and we took a train to Siena, which is a hill town in the Tuscany area. And yeah, I found Siena to be like the perfect mix of being in a town and having access to some amazing art, medieval art, Renaissance art, architecture, examples of that, but also the ability to get out of the town and experience some of the landscape, which we did do on my birthday. We were able to do a wine tour to Montalcino and see a hill town and visit some old fortresses, kind of climb up into the some elevation to look out over the valleys and the hills, and it was really amazing. And I think that was probably one of my favorite things that we did, because I really liked being in the countryside. In Siena, we spent 4 days. We got to visit the Duomo there and St. Catherine's Cathedral, Catherine of Siena, who is the patron saint, and wander the medieval streets. We visited a medieval art gallery, which there was basically nobody in, which was amazing. So I found the crowds and this particular place to be manageable and, expected. We were kind of there at the beginning of the touristy season, if you will, beginning of April, and lots of lovely shopping. There was lots of beautiful ceramics and of course leather and amazing food. We went out a couple times to really great restaurants. Some nights we stayed in and just got some pizza and sat on our terrace, looked out over the town. So we had an Airbnb there with a really amazing view. It was great to have coffee in the morning and hear the church bells. So again, similar to Eglisau, it just had a really relaxed, dreamy, relaxing feel to it, and I thoroughly enjoyed Siena. While I was in Siena, I did pick up for myself. There was a lot of things that I was keeping an eye out for the children, my nieces and nephew, but for me, I picked up this hand-bound book with heavy-duty watercolor paper in it, and of course with the marbling and the leather, and these were kind of hand-bound right in Italy. I thought it was a really beautiful keepsake and something to aspire to in my own binding skills and marbling skills. So I picked this up at a small stationery shop in the old medieval streets, so that was kind of awe-inspiring. So that was kind of Siena, and then from Siena we went to Rome, and the first day we visited the Vatican. Got a chance to be in St. Peter's and Basilica, and we visited the Sistine Chapel and the Pantheon, and we did lots of wandering around our neighborhood that we had rented an Airbnb in, as well as got to get my eyes on the Colosseum and enjoy some long leisurely dinners and morning cappuccinos. I really enjoyed being on the Tiber River. I thought that was kind of awe-inspiring, as well as the Rhine when I was in Eglisau. So I appreciate being kind of in that space and being small, because that's how these kind of historical places make me feel in the scheme of things. But I think if I had my druthers and I could choose it again, I probably would have only spent maybe a day and a half in Rome, and then headed up to Assisi, and then further up to the Dolomites, and maybe back to Switzerland. So not really a big city gal. And yeah, so that's my commentary on Rome. Now, when I was in Rome, I had a great time. So I'm not complaining. Like I said, there was long leisurely dinners. There was, beautiful morning coffees and cappuccino. And I did visit a market, kind of a vintage and antique goods market on the Sunday morning. And I picked up a bunch of ephemera from the early 1900s, handwritten in Italian, but if you have been with me, you'll know that I like to work with encaustic collage, and I love using these as backgrounds to that. So I picked some of that up, and that was kind of a fun reminder or little memento souvenir to tuck away that was flat, that would fit in my suitcase, because that started to become a problem. Was squishing things down, but this particular thing I knew would fit easily. That was the Italian adventure, or portion of the trip. Lots of laughter, lots of funny mishaps, some stress, but we made it through. And yeah, I will treasure these memories with my mom, especially forever. So I was so glad that I had the opportunity to do that. And to do it with her and Sophia and Annie. Couldn't have asked for a better group, and I appreciate, like I said, the deep amount of laughter that we got to engage in while we were away. So what did I knit on? That's what we're going to wrap up today's episode with. So while I was abroad, I worked on the Trondheim cowl by Sophia Carlson. She even put a few rows on it for me, and I kind of knitted away at that for most of the time. I also worked on the Title V, which is a design by Deborah Purcella, and this is in Title Yarns Fingering, and it is a top-down raglan V-neck, and so I'm still working on the shaping around the top, so I haven't joined in the round. It's still kind of knit flat, and I'm working on the raglan increases. So I think that's what I worked on. I did, like I said, make a number of attempts to cast on the beret. And the beret, we were flying home from Rome to Zurich, and our flight, once we got to Zurich, from Zurich to Boston, was canceled. So we had to spend the night and almost a full day till our flight the next day. So that's what I worked on while we were in the airport for hours. And yeah, so the last thing, when I got home on Wednesday at 1 in the morning, and I headed to work at 6:30 that morning. I worked Wednesday, I worked Thursday, saw the children Thursday night, and drove north Friday, which is where I am. I'm so happy to be home, so happy to be with Ruby, happy to be on a quiet lake in my cabin. And since I've been home, I have been working on the Pagan Sky, and I have finished the body colorwork motif, and I am just now trying to gauge how long I want the sweater to be. So I think I have about maybe 4 more inches to go in plain stockinette in the brown. This is in Plotolopi, and then I'm gonna just do maybe a garter stitch hem or maybe a moss stitch hem. I'm not sure yet. So I'm finagling a little bit of the length. Where do I want it to hit me on the hip? So that's really what I've been working on mostly since I've been home. Now I'm off this whole week, so I will be putting together another episode to go up next week, because I actually have quite a bit of projects that I have worked on prior to leaving to share with you. And then if you are a patron, I did look to upload an extra bonus studio vlog for you, and I know that we've talked about a Zoom get together. So stay tuned for that. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for coming along on this little journey with me. And until next time, many fond wishes and blessings. Take care. Bye.